Hello and welcome to Parent Talk. Today it's an honor to welcome our guest speaker, Brad Kaplin. He's going to discuss how to help your child find success in elementary school. Part 1 is how to encourage a growth mindset.
Sure, we've all used Zoom a lot, but I'll just sort of mention, if we're not familiar, we'll be in and out of a screen share where you can see my PowerPoint this evening. When we're in a screen share, you may want to go to side-by-side mode. If you're looking at the top, it should say you're viewing Brad Kaplin's screen. It has the view options right there. If you hit that arrow, go down a few items and click side-by-side mode, your screen will shift to this format if it's not already there. Here you'll see my PowerPoint, and there you'll see my face, and you'll see a little white line in between. You can grab that white line and move it to the left or right and adjust how big the PowerPoint is and how big I am. And so you can make that comfortable for yourself. I usually tell my students maybe 2/3, 1/3. When we are not in screen share mode, which we'll be exiting in a moment, you have speaker view or gallery view. You probably want to be on speaker view, so you're seeing me on your screen rather than a bunch of small boxes. On a computer, that's usually in the top right corner there where I have the red box. On a tablet, that's usually on the left side, although with updates, the interfaces do change a little bit. So, as Linda said, just a brief personal background. I have degrees in engineering, education, Bachelor of Education, and a Master's of Education and Leadership. I taught for 7 years in Quebec and Ontario. I've taught high school and elementary, English, math, and STEAM or STEM. I'm also the author of 2 unpublished middle grade books. I am in the process of trying to get one of those books published. I am currently the founder and lead teacher at BKLearning, which I founded this year in August. I offer online courses for grades 4 to 6 in English, math, and critical thinking. That's group courses. A number of parents here this evening, their children attend those courses. I also offer private tutoring services for grades 3 to 11 English, math, and enrichment. And as we're still in the early days, I'll be developing a range of educational services, including coding programs this summer, exam prep workshops, and a lot more. So with that, we'll exit the screen share. And we'll start on our first topic this evening, which is growth mindset. If you've heard of it, great. If you haven't heard of it, no problem. I'm assuming this is not a familiar topic for the group. So growth mindset and its alternative term, fixed mindset, were coined by psychologist and researcher Carol Dweck. She works at Stanford University. Her life work has focused on how we think about learning, how we think about abilities, cognitive abilities, whether that's creativity, musical talent, and so on. And so to best understand growth mindset, ideally we first look at fixed mindset. It's sort of opposite. And so a fixed mindset is the idea that intelligence is set, it's innate, it's limited, you've got what you've got, you're born with it. And that extends to other abilities. For example, creativity, musical talent, and so on. In other words, it's sort of natural, it's given. Somebody with a fixed mindset would see tests or challenges as something that's going to prove or disprove their ability and sort of expose the limitation of their ability. And for that reason, they may shy away from tests or from challenges. They may avoid mistakes and failures because that sort of exposes. Growth mindset is the idea that intelligence and abilities are malleable. Okay, our brains, our neurons, synapses, myelin can grow and develop over time, just like a muscle. Okay, and we're able to learn new skills, we're able to develop our abilities. Somebody who has a growth mindset would accept new challenges and recognize that that's an opportunity to learn. They would see mistakes and failure as part of the learning process. I made a mistake today, but maybe next time I would do better with a better strategy or with added coaching or added teaching, right? Practice and effort helps you grow and develop. And so the science, in terms of how our brains actually work, supports growth mindset. Okay, we do not have inherent set abilities. Our brains do develop and grow and learn new skills, and we are able to learn, whatever we apply ourselves to. Not, within a reasonable extent, right? We may not all be able to write music like Mozart, but we are all able to learn music, to play an instrument, or to write music, or to do whatever. And so in practice, we, meaning adults, meaning humans, we don't necessarily fit into one category or the other. Most people exist on a sort of continuum between a very fixed mindset and a very growth mindset. And it's actually very common for people to see certain skills or talents in one way and others the other way. For example, writing is generally seen by many people with a growth mindset. We generally all look at writing as something that develops over time. Your writing in grade 3 is not the same as grade 7, is not the same as an adult. If you spend a long time in a job where you don't have to write much and then switch to a job where you do a lot of writing, you'll certainly see a year later an improvement in that writing. Whereas something like music, a lot of people tend to look at it as the fixed mindset, natural ability, natural talent that you either have or don't. Now we can see with this explanation how beneficial having a growth mindset would be to students. We want students to inhabit a growth mindset, be open to challenges, and recognize that challenges help them learn. Accept mistakes as part of the learning process, not something to get down about, but something as a stepping stone to help you move further, right? We want our students to have a growth mindset and make an effort to study, because effort is equated with success and development and growth. So in a moment, we're going to discuss, well, in a couple of moments, we're going to discuss what you can do as a parent to help encourage this type of thinking. A sort of minimum age where kids can start learning this. And so when I was a classroom teacher and now as an online teacher, I always do lessons with students about growth mindset. And I wanted to show you a few pieces of that to help you sort of see what it could look like for kids. I often include videos in my lessons. This is in fact one of my favorite videos. It's from Khan Academy that I usually launch to start the growth mindset lesson. Okay, so we'll take a look at that. It's a minute 30 seconds.
Nobody's born smart. We all start at zero. Can't talk, can't walk, certainly can't do algebra. Adding, reading, riding a bike. Nobody's good at anything at first. There was a time when Einstein couldn't count to 10. And Shakespeare had to learn his ABCs just like the rest of us. Thankfully, we're born to learn. Slowly, surely, you stumble, slip, crawl, fall, and fail, and fall. Frustrating, confusing, trying, struggling, until one day, you walk. One foot in front of the other, one idea on top of the next, each wrong answer making your brain a little bit stronger. Failure is just another word for growing, and you keep going. This is learning. Knowing that you'll get it, even if you haven't gotten it yet. Because the most beautiful, complex concepts in the whole universe are built on basic ideas that anyone, anywhere can understand. Whoever you are, wherever you are, you only have to know one thing. You can learn anything.
So that video always puts a smile on my face. I love it. It's just an amazing message for children, for adults, for anybody. And it really speaks to the heart of growth mindset and the idea that, you can learn anything. If you apply yourself with the right conditions, with the right teacher, with the right coach, with the right effort, you're able to learn whatever it is, right? There's no such thing as someone who's not a math person. There's just someone who hasn't, learned that level of math yet, right? And the word yet is a big part of growth mindset. So here's an image. If you Google growth mindset, it comes up right away. I originally, I found it from Dartmouth University, but I don't actually know who originally made it. There's no credit there, which I also like to show students, right? And it's got your growth and your fixed mindset and sort of quotes of what, those people might say or think to themselves. Growth mindset, failure is an opportunity to grow, whereas fixed mindset, failure is the limit of my abilities. Growth mindset, challenges help me to grow. Whereas fixed mindset, I don't like to be challenged. I can either do it or I can't. Growth mindset, my effort, my effort and attitude determine my abilities. Fixed mindset, my potential determine. Okay, and so on, right? I'm not going to read through all of that. So again, this is very helpful with students to sort of see, what sort of thoughts are going on with the growth mindset. So from there, an activity I like to do with students is sort of write along those same ideas. Give them a situation and ask them to write, what would the growth mindset person say? And what would the fixed mindset person say? And just to give you context, I typically do this with grade 4 or 5 age students, 9, 10-year-old students. And I show them this model before we get into the next activity, before we get into the activities that they do. Okay, so the situation is a 5th grade student didn't study at all and then failed a math test. what would that student with a growth mindset say? They might say, if I would have studied harder, I may have learned more material and gotten a better mark. What would that person with a fixed mindset say? I did so bad. I must not be very smart. I'll always be bad at math. In other words, they're fixed, they're not a math student, and they never will. And from there, I give the students 5 situations where, in person it's on paper and on Zoom it's in the chat box, where they are asked to, explain what would the growth mindset child say and fixed mindset child say for different situations. Okay, so I'm only going to share 2 of them with you now. The child is trying to ride a bike for the first time and falls off, scraping his or her. Okay, obviously the gender doesn't matter. And so the student is, what we're looking for from the student here is that growth mindset is, I'll get back up, I'll keep trying. Maybe I'll ask mom or dad to help me keep balance at first, and then I'll try on my own. Some sort of strategy or getting at the keep at it. Fixed mindset child might say, I don't want to hurt myself. I'm never going to try again, something along those lines. One other one that I'll share with you, a high school student is asked if he or she wants to be part of the science enrichment program. This one's a little bit harder for 9, 10-year-old students to sort of see the answer, or see, the difference here. I actually purposely asked them to do fixed mindset first. Comes back to that idea of challenge. Fixed mindset here would say, no, I don't want to be part of science enrichment. What if everybody sees that I'm good at science, but not that good? It exposes me. Whereas growth mindset sees that as an opportunity to learn more, to gain more, to become, a better scientific thinker and so on, right? And so this is a type of activity that works with students, and a type of talk that kids can help kids sort of develop that mindset. So finally, we bring it back to you, okay? Growth mindset, tips for parents, 3 ways parents can instill or encourage a growth mindset. And please feel free to take a screenshot or a picture with your phone or anything of that nature. So firstly, recognize your own mindset, thinking, and actions, and the behaviors you model for your child. Seeing you take on challenges or learning new things can be invaluable to your child, right? You know how children, follow their parents as role models, right? And so it can be extremely valuable to see you sort of facing those challenges and trying something new or trying something different. Also recognize the talk, whether it's for your child or even, just happens to be a conversation, about a family member or a friend or whatever that your child's overhearing, using constructive language to talk about how mistakes and failures can lead to learn, right? And it's never too early and it's never too late to start doing this sort of thing, right? So if it's the first time you've ever heard of growth mindset, no problem with starting tomorrow, okay? And if you've heard of it and already been doing this, no problem to carry on. So recognizing your own mindset. Second tip for parents, praising effort and process. This reinforces the notion that success comes from hard work and dedication. I love this website here, and so I'm going to jump the screen over. It's Mindset Works. Okay, there's tons of great resources for parents, but this specifically, it's a say this, not that, relating to building growth mindset. Okay, I'll just use a few examples here. Okay, so your child does well on something. I can see you worked hard on this, right? You want to say this because it helps your child understand that you value their effort, the effort they put into whatever it is, right? Not that you are so smart. Don't say that because it makes them think of intelligence as a fixed quality. Because they're smart, they did well. And if they weren't smart, they wouldn't do well. Which means next time if they don't come home with a good mark, that means they're not smart, right? And I'll be careful with this one because the implication is not to tell your child that they're not smart, but it's to make sure the praise is more focused on effort than on the innate sort of intelligence, which, what if they perceive that the wrong way next time? Another one that I like here, that's not right. You don't understand this yet. What strategies can you use to try to understand it better? Okay. There's nothing wrong with directly telling a child if they make an error. Again, growth mindset, mistakes are part of learning. Okay. There's nothing wrong with saying you don't understand this as long as you use the word yet, because yet clearly communicates that they will get it later, but it's not there yet. Okay. Linking to strategies is also something big in growth mindset. What can you do to get there? Say this because it's important to be honest about what your child knows and doesn't know, but also explain that you believe in their capacity to improve. Don't say that's not right. Are you paying attention in class? It seems like you're not even trying. We know there's a million reasons why a student may not get a concept, right? And to make an assumption that they're not paying attention, well, that could be faulty, right? There could be many other reasons why they didn't understand. Okay, that could create a fight or flight response, and that could prevent the child from, giving their best effort or connecting as a student. So again, you're welcome to explore that later, mindsetworks.com. Lots of great statements about what sort of language to use to encourage a growth mindset. My third tip for parents: teach it directly. Introduce the concept through videos, diagrams, and conversation. Even if you're not a teacher, there's nothing stopping you from taking 10, 15 minutes to sit down with your child. If you Google growth mindset, you'll find the video that I just showed. You'll find the diagram that I just showed, the situations I gave examples of, any type of generic situation, right? Nothing wrong with introducing the idea. And actually, if you YouTube it, there's tons of great growth mindset videos. And introducing that concept, because the reality is, lots of teachers know about this, but lots don't. I only learned about this when I was, 2 years into being, 3 years into being a teacher. Okay, so your child's classroom teacher is not necessarily going to do a growth mindset lesson, although it is becoming more common, and hopefully we'll be seeing that more and more. So that concludes the first segment on growth mindset.
Let me help you take your parenting from ordinary to extraordinary. Contact me today and let's talk.